Right, we've been working really hard in lockdown with the girls, via Zoom. We've had our individual sessions. We've managed to meet up a few times as a small groups and stuff, and worked really hard for it. But it was inevitable it was going to happen. It's been a long time coming, the decision. But ultimately, you've got to look at the bigger picture. It's for the best. But yeah, always it's disappointing. However, can we claim that we're still Challenge Cup holders? So third year running, that's quite nice. So yeah, I mean, it's a shame, but bigger picture and all.
In terms of, obviously, it's been such a long time since your last game. Has that been frustrating that you haven't been able to get back out there and, defend that title?
Yeah, massively so. I think, you train really hard and you work as a group for an end goal. And we set our goals in the start of the season. In January time, we set out that we wanted to do the treble and retain our titles. So we've always had that goal in mind. And even when we've been training, that keeps on popping up. Like, let's defend our title. Let's come back the fittest team. Let's come back stronger. So you're always working towards a goal, and that makes it easier to train. But now, yeah, it is frustrating because we were on such a good roll. And, with Lois coming in as head coach, like she was going to work, well, she is going to work wonders. She's so knowledgeable about the game. She's so good at knowing people's roles and what to do. So it's kind of a shame we didn't see how that kind of panned out as well. But I just have to work a little bit harder for next year.
Doing sessions via Zoom and more recently being able to get together in small groups, how helpful has that been to actually be able to train alongside your teammates?
I think it's made me worry a little bit about when I retire from rugby, because we were training and I found training difficult on my own. I'm not an individual sports person. And then when I met up with the girls the first time, I think there were about 4 or 5 of us, and I was like, I said, I didn't realise how much I liked being around you, or, the camaraderie, just a team, like having friends, like when you're feeling a bit low or somebody pushing you along. And it's made me really realise how important that team is, and particularly the girls that we've got. I've never been in a team where it's been so like cohesive. So yeah, it's so good to get back with them and gradually see more and more of the girls in various little spots. And somebody will put out one day, or meeting at so and so park at this time, and a few of us will try and get along. So it's really important to try and get with the girls and just to keep that team spirit, if anything else. Like the mental side of it has just been great to see them again. So yeah, it made me realise how much of a team player I am, and it actually made me think about what I'm going to do when I retire, because I don't know how I'll really miss that. I mean, so scary.
Although it's obviously such a disappointing year this year with no competition, there's a huge year coming up for rugby league, and in particular women's sport with the World Cup. Are you confident we can keep the momentum from last year and build up to that massive tournament?
Yeah, totally. Like the girls have driven now. Like the game's huge. We've come so far in such a short space of time. I know the EPU are meeting and training via Zoom. They're meeting in small groups as well. The World Cup year is going to be huge, and I think as a Super League as well, we've got to really try and push to make sure the girls are in the best possible shape they can be as well. So that means remaining fit throughout the off season, so that when we do get on there, we're giving them all a good competition to compete against each other. When the announcement of the cancellation of the league came along, there were still loads of people commenting on it and being really supportive of it. So obviously the momentum is still there. It's just a shame that it's not in a playing format. But I think it's such a product, isn't it, the women's game in all senses, sponsorship as a development, but also for the girls, the youth of that England squad is massive, and I think they're all pretty driven and determined. So we've just got to keep sure that keeps rolling.
And just away from rugby, obviously, Danika, you're a teacher and you've been working mostly all the way through lockdown, but we're coming up to the time now when all children are coming back. Are you looking forward to having your school fairly back to normal?
Yeah, I've been in a couple of times this week, and I've got to credit the school hugely. Like, I feel so safe and so secure going back. The communication with the staff, with the parents, with the children has been unbelievable, like above and beyond. We go back on Monday as a training day, formats, get to walk through things. The Tuesday, we've got a parent review day. So we invite all the parents in, get different slots so that they can not only talk about their child's like progress and aims for the year, but also I think kind of ease them as well, in the sense that we work very much in bubbles. We've got pods in the school anyway. So yeah, I can't wait to get back into a routine. Like, it's been lovely having 7 weeks off, give or take. But yeah, I'm a routine kind of person. So getting back into that is going to be great. And I can't wait to see the kids and see everybody, and hopefully try and get some normality back for them particularly.
challenging do you think it's been for the children not being at school? And do you feel there will be more challenges for them to come to catch up?
Yes and no. I think like it was quite nice to touch base with some of the kids on GCSE results day, and what a weird, a crazy mental time that has been. You know, like I was catching up with them, and I think it's made the older kids realise how much they value school, which sometimes doesn't come necessarily until you leave. The younger ones we've been trying to keep in contact with and give them work to do. But particularly for the school that I work in, as an alternative provision with lots of children with SEMH needs, it's going to mean that we have to do a really slow transition and process back into what normality might be. And that's our job as teachers and facilitators, just to make sure that we're making that as smooth and as safe as possible for them. And that might mean there's loads of schools doing like staggered returns. So there won't be all the kids in at the same time, changing of routines and lunchtime. So it's going to be a long couple of weeks to get into the swing of it, maybe a month or so, you know, you never know. But it's hugely important. I think that curriculum wise, we're going to adapt it and things the kids will pick up pretty quickly. You know, the basics they already have. It's just getting back into that routine of working and sleeping and eating at normal patterns will be the biggest challenge of all. And I think the academic side will just come back as and when. And I think there are things in place for next year, and taking into account the year 10s and the year 12s that have missed out on a strong portion of their examination years. So hopefully the government will get that sorted. But apart from that, the kids will be fine. They'll switch back into it, no problem.
You might not be able to play, Danika, but you're back at Headingley. You'll be one of the lucky few who's getting to see some live action tomorrow. Can you just tell us a little bit about that and what you're involved in?
Yeah, it's awesome. Tanya Arnold has invited me down to be a guest on the Super League show on BBC. So I'll be with her and John Keir tomorrow night at Headingley, which is really, really exciting. I feel a bit smug, really, because I get to come back to Headingley, which obviously is hallowed ground. It's the stadium of all stadiums for me. I get to watch some live rugby league. I mean, unfortunately not Leeds, but I think any live sport at the minute is an absolute bonus. I can't wait to be on the BBC, which is a really great opportunity, and also to just watch some rugby and just see some sport again. And yeah, I think I'm more giddy about just watching rugby than I am about anything else. But it's a great opportunity, and I'm really grateful for it. So hopefully it goes well.
And just finally, you recently supported a campaign that was looking at the stereotype of female athletes. Can you tell us a little bit more about that and why you're supporting that campaign?
Yeah, so the Irish Rugby Union team obviously released their new shirts, and for the men's shirts they put the men's Irish team in for modelling, and then for the women's shirts they used actual models, which has caused a massive stir, essentially saying that as rugby players we're not good enough to show off the shirt, which is ironic, really, because a rugby shirt is worn by a rugby player or a rugby supporter. So it's a big campaign like the I Am Enough, to not just say that we are enough as people and as models, but we've had enough in a kind of way. The stereotype of rugby players being butch or big or ugly or anything is such a kind of misconception now, and that the times are changing. And yes, the women's rugby players are muscly, they are lean, they're fit, they're healthy, you know, they love their sport, and therefore why not use them as role models for that shirt? You know, people who are buying the shirt because they watch the sport and they enjoy the sport, so therefore use them as role models, promote them as players, promote them as athletes. You know, I was saying the other day, I got asked about this, I think when the Super League started 2 years ago, Leeds Rhinos were the only team to use us as models for our kit, and have done ever since. And that's such a great thing, because not only do we get to model the kit, but then people recognise who we are as players, which has been fantastic. And I was speaking to one of the girls from Saints, and they were really disappointed that they weren't used in the first year for their shirts. So like, huge thanks to you guys for always supporting us, but it just needs to use more. Now Canterbury have come back now and said that they're going to use female and LGBTQ plus athletes for all their kits now, which is great. That's what we wanted. But yeah, it's just, we've had enough. And, you know, women in sport has always been a bit of a contentious subject, hasn't it? So, but we're moving with the times, and hopefully there'll be more of that to come.